Hi and welcome to episode 7 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of This is Reportage and I'm a wedding photographer too. Today I'm really excited to have one of my all-time favourite wedding photographers, the brilliant Pedro Vilela. Whenever I get asked about who my personal favourite photographers are, I always mention this man. He's been a great inspiration on my work and he's a lovely, lovely guy too. Stick with us to hear his thoughts on creativity, creating pictures that show his couple's personality, life with twin girls, staying true to ourselves, the essential skills a wedding photographer should have, his thoughts on the future, and much more. Hey Pedro, how are you doing?
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Really good. How's things with you? Thanks for joining us all the way from Portugal.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here, talk to you. It's amazing.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. Honestly, it's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How's your wedding season been? Been a good one?
Yeah, it was. It was really good. I feel fresh. I still have one more wedding to go. But if I need to start a season now, I think I started right away because I feel very fresh.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant to come to the end of a season and still feel really fresh. How do you feel like that? Do you exercise every day or something?
Every day, not so much as I wanted, but I play squash, I do yoga. I have a bike. I ride a bike sometimes, so I don't know. I do small things throughout the week, and I have a really amazing help of my wife, and she works in the back office.
Oh, cool. So she does does she do like your editing and things, or do you still do that?
Kind of, but no, I still do some editing, but she works more in client management and emails and contracts, and schedule things with wedding planners and meetings with couples and the back office things. Yeah.
That's handy to have. That's cool. That's
yes. And we worked together, I don't know, almost 3 years, and she's a really great help and allows me to think more about pictures and photography and how can I be a better photographer,
Oh, that's great. And you never argue, never have any differences?
We have our times. Nothing special, You also married, so.
Oh yes, yeah, I understand.
I think we have a great thing. We have a really nice balance between work life and personal life. And when Elena when we started work together, we thought a lot about this, and the first thing that we wanted is to be together and see our daughters every day and play with them and have more quality time together, and that's for us was the most important thing.
That's so cool. That's so magic that you've got that. That really is so important. Yeah. So you live in Lisbon, Portugal, which is a beautiful city. Did you grow up there? Were you always interested in photography? Tell us about the young Pedro Vilela.
So many things. I don't know. Okay. I was born in Lisbon. I didn't live in Lisbon all my life. I lived in a village very close to Lisbon. I don't know, maybe 40 minutes from Lisbon.
Okay.
Called Sintra. And I lived there until 26 years old. Then I met Elena, and we started living together. Since then, I'm 30, almost 38, so I'm in.
No,
Lisbon.
you're not that old.
Yes, I am. I am.
You look
Yes.
so much younger, Pedro. So for people listening, I've had the pleasure of meeting you a few times, and you seem so. I reckon you seem about like 25 or something.
Oh man, no. We met 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? At the it's
I
for.
remember that the other day.
It's
That
mad, isn't it? How that time has gone by.
was on February. Work.
Yes, yeah, in London, yeah. And so, were you always into photography from a young age, or is it something you've?
Um, so my big passion was movies, cinema. Uh, I think I always had the dream to work on that industry.
Right.
Um, so I have a degree in communication.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and when I finished that degree, I started to do a photojournalist course. Learning the skills of being a photojournalist, and I started from there. Um, I
Cool.
did an intern in a national newspaper. I never stopped since there. Uh, uh, I don't know. It was in 2005 maybe when I started.
How did you get that very first wedding then?
Uh, because on the same time, as I work as a photojournalist, I met some wedding photographers at the time. So I worked with them as a second shooter. You know,
Right.
uh, it was a nice start or was another work or another job to work in photography. And I kind of like to work on weddings. Uh, and I started to imagine myself working in weddings because in 2006, 2007, wedding photography in Portugal wasn't like it is now, as you can imagine.
Right. I'm sure.
I think
Yeah.
all over the world. So uh, I think I had some luck at the beginning because I started to show some pictures with the photojournalist style in my blog, and I
Right.
started to have some inquiries.
And did you shoot straight away in a photojournalistic style then?
Uh, I think I started very slowly because at the beginning I didn't have any weddings to directly to myself. Uh,
Sure.
when I was working with other photographers, I did my work, but I still was searching for something, and I think it started from there. When I felt that, and then I started to have some inquiries to from couples that saw my blog at Ian Flickr at the time and saw that I did weddings and also other types of work. And I think my style developed from there.
Right. Okay. And I personally, I love your style. You're one of my favorite ever photographers. You're always
Oh,
so.
thank you so much.
It's true though, Pedro. You're always so creative. How do you stay so creative? Even after shooting so many weddings now, how do you do it?
To be honest, I don't feel I'm that creative. I don't feel I'm the most creative photographer or
You
our creative. I think I just try to feel uh, things around me and trying to search for pictures that tell something to that moment or to that person or to me. And I don't know if it's creativity, but I try always to find a nice composition or a nice light or a nice feeling of the moment that I'm living. Um, I don't feel it's I don't feel this is creativity. I just feel that you are in the moment searching for something. But I try to see a lot of working to work the composition and work the light, and I think that those are my primary concerns. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but you nail it. You say you're so modest, and you say you don't think you're that creative, but you
Oh,
really,
it's
really
true
are.
because for example, portraits. I don't feel that I do or follow the searching for the most creative portraits. I just try to understand the people that I'm taking pictures and give them a picture that shows their personality. I think my work is more to listen into feeling that to follow some kind of creative picture or shot. I don't know.
Well, I think that's fantastic that you say that because I think portraits in general can be a lot more about the photographer rather than the couple. So that's great that you're saying, the portraits for you are still all about them and
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that's fantastic.
yeah, showing their personality. And it's very difficult to do
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah.
a portrait on the wedding that shows the personality of the couple. That's why people always try to do something different, or I don't know, a backlight, or using their cell phone to do some reflection, or a prisma. The trend things.
Yeah.
But me is more about them. Try to show who
And
they are.
and how do you do that? I know obviously with reportage we're more about the documentary side, but our photographers still take portraits as well. So it's still a very important
Yeah.
subject. And how do you get more of them and their personality in the portraits? Do you have any advice for
Uh,
that?
and I talked to them before. We send a survey 1 month before the wedding, and I just for me the pre-wedding meeting is very important. I try to do a meeting with the couple on the week before the wedding,
Okay.
to go throughout the timeline of the day, to understand a little bit about what's going to happen, and having the this survey and other meetings that we had before in my mind, and my notes that I take of them on the first impressions that I have. I go from there, and I think these kind of tools are really important for me to understand the people that I'm taking pictures, understand a little bit of them and why they are getting married, why they are getting married in that place and that venue. I do lots of destination weddings here in Portugal, and why people are coming to Portugal uh, to get married. I want to understand everything about why they are getting married, you know. And I start from there.
That's cool. That's that
Yeah.
that's great advice. Pedro, by the way, are you maybe fiddling with something on your desk or something? I can hear like a
Sorry.
little. Is there a little? I can hear like a little clipping sound. Are you fiddling with a piece of paper or something? Or
Sorry. My pen.
it's okay. It's just coming. I can hear it on the audio. So
So sorry.
that's
I
okay. Don't
talk a
worry.
lot with my hands, and I always with something in my hand. I stop now.
Sorry, it's just I want
Oh,
people to listen to you, and I just don't want them to be turned off, with that noise. So that's cool, cool.
yeah.
Right. So I'll cut that bit out anyway.
Okay. No, it's perfect. I love this kind of moments in the middle of the podcast and the interview.
Okay, I may keep it in. We'll see.
You can laugh. You can leave.
Okay, listen. I'm going to change tack slightly now. You mentioned earlier how you love movies. Are there any movies that make you cry?
Cry. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to think about that. Uh, cry. Oh my God, that's tough.
Oh man, I cry at lots of things like
You
Jerry.
have, yeah, tell me one.
Well, Jerry Maguire. I always cry at Jerry
On
Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I know. I find that really emotional.
Why?
Oh, he's when he comes and talks to her at the end and just his life journey and how he realized he's
Yeah.
made like kind of mistakes and had the wrong. Oh, I just
Yeah.
honestly, I just find it really emotional.
Yeah, I love that part that he says, "Show me the money."
Yeah, it is a good film. But yeah, do you have any that you cry at?
I'm not remember and a movie that I cry. Sorry, maybe Coco. You know
Oh yeah,
the you,
The
you
Day of the
saw
Dead.
that movie?
Yeah, it's it's sort of Day of the Dead, isn't it? Thing in Mexico.
Exactly, exactly. I saw that movie with my daughters, and I felt very emotional in the end.
Yes, I did as well. My daughter was emotional. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful movie. I think
And
I cried in that movie.
okay, we'll say you did. Which is good actually. Bring to your girls. They're twins, I believe. Is that right?
Twins, 6 years old.
Wow, twins. What was it like finding out that you were going to have twins? What was that?
uh,
I can't
I'm
imagine.
always telling, yeah, I'm always telling this story. When we found out that I was on the doctor's room, with my wife, and when he said, that promotion that you pay one and you take two,
Oh yeah.
he said that to me, and I remember that I sit down. Uh, I just uh, said to my wife, "We need to buy a bigger car." That
That's
was
so
my reaction to that.
true. Oh man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And what? So when they were both born, how
It
did
was chaos. I think it
was
was
it?
chaos. Yes, I remember coming from a wedding, uh, 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning, uh, tired, very tired from the wedding, and I was all thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to sleep now." And when I arrived to her house, it was chaos. Everyone was, because at the time we had uh, my 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 wife's mother helping us at the time when
Right.
they were born, and it was chaos here. Everybody was doing something with one of the girls, uh, and as you can imagine, I didn't sleep that night. So my life in the first months, I don't know, the first year was understanding how to balance personal life and work and everything. And
Sure.
yeah, and you know that because you have
That's
one
yes.
daughter and one son.
That's right. Yeah. But not twins. I can't imagine what that was
Ah,
like.
but it's the same age almost. No?
Yes, very similar. That's true. Yeah, and they're both at school now. So yours will be at school as well. Is that right?
Yeah. First, first class, first degree, first
Oh,
class. Yes.
oh, okay. And how have you found that? I miss them, but and it's weird having so much more time as well. It's a strange
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's why I was saying that in the beginning. We are, me and Elena, we are working together to have time, quality time with them, And for me, this is the most important thing. And I took lots of time to find the balance between everything in my life, in our life.
Sure. And
Yeah.
balance is so important. Balance is.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
It is.
you were you were joint third in our top 30 last year, which is amazing, and
Oh.
you've judged for us as well. Um,
Yeah.
do you have any specific tips or bits of advice for people entering, the Reportage Awards?
uh, I don't think too much about that. I don't know. The thing is, I think it's really important to understand what we are doing in that day. And I don't feel so much that we are telling the story because it's their life story, because it's a small chapter in their life. So we are there to document the day, of course, how things are happening. But if we can listen to the couple and try to listen to the people that are there in that day, we can find small stories in that day, and that's the things that I love to see on reportage pictures. Pictures that can show small moments, small details, small stories inside the big story. Because there is always a bigger story than the wedding itself. There's always the grandmother, the friend that arranged the meeting between the couple. There are lots of things to find in the wedding day that can be more or can be interesting or more interesting than the wedding itself. Because I think every wedding photographer, what we should do is documenting the day, how the key moments or the moments will happen, or the key moments. But in the in between moments, the in between moments are really can be more interesting to catch and to follow. And for that, I think we need to be focused on the day and trying to see things around us and trying to anticipate what's going to happen. And I think this is the most important thing: trying to read the what's happening in front of us and trying to anticipate what can happen in a certain moment. It makes sense? No.
Yeah, totally. I think that's really good advice. And you mentioned how just then that we're just shooting their wedding, not their life. But actually, one of my favorite pieces of your work, although you could call it more like a body of work, is what you did for Monica and Pedro, I think, over 4 years.
Yes.
Was it you shot was it their engagement, their wedding, then
Yes.
I think a maternity shoot and family shoot and even photographed the birth of their second child, I think.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, tell us about that. Would you like to do more of those? How did that happen? It's brilliant.
I want to do more about that. I think what happened there, it was I didn't have a plan or we didn't have a plan of the things that we wanted to do. It all started with the engagement session and then the wedding. And after 1 year or 2 years, they had their first child, and I did a maternity session. And then a few months or 1 year or 2 years later, I did a family session with them. And on that family session, I asked them if it was possible to do the birth reportage, and we had some luck. I had some luck there because they are nurses on the service.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
They are on the hospital.
Oh,
So it was more easy for us to have the permission to do that, those pictures.
right.
And I think I never had a plan to do a thing like this. I think it was always a moment or that they wanted to be documented. And in the end, when I had everything together, I felt that I had a story of a small part of their lives, but a strong part of their family story.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing, and people should check out. I'll put a link to that blog post if you,
Thank you so much.
in the post. Yeah, really check it out. It's brilliant. You should do more of those. I know it must be very hard to
I
do
want
though, actually.
it is, and actually the birth was really really hard to do it because I arrived very early on that day. I had a wedding on the day before, so
Oh,
I
wow.
was very tired. But I arrived on the hospital in the day on the early that day, and that birth, like it wasn't supposed to be like that.
Oh no,
So
really?
yeah, so we had some luck, and what I like the most there uh, is relating that to my personal story, because if you were talking about if there was a movie that if I cry in any movie,
Oh yeah.
I cry on that moment on
Oh
when I
yeah.
was taking pictures of that birth, because I was thinking about my daughters that I unfortunately I didn't saw their birth because they are twins. The It's a all different operation. Um, so I wasn't allowed to be with my wife inside
Right. Okay.
the room. So on that moment when I was taking pictures of this specific birth, I was thinking also in my uh, uh, paper or my role as a father, and I on that moment I cry a lot. Uh,
Oh
yeah,
man, I
yeah,
bet it's very special that you captured that. Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. It was very strong for me.
What would be, just to go on to a slightly different tab, but what would be your top tips for people just starting out in our industry?
Always, you are always doing the difficult questions.
I can't make it easy. Can't make it easy.
We can work this together. Uh, what you think? What, in your opinion?
That's well, yeah. I've not been asked that actually. Yeah, it's a difficult question, isn't it? You throw
It
it back at
is.
me.
No, because we can. I think. How many years are you taking pictures in wedding pictures?
I think about 7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah.
You don't feel that I think we have some kind of responsibility uh, when we are talking about these kind of things, because you do workshops, I do workshops, we already talk in wedding conferences. I think everything that we say and we write, I think it always will always be very important or not to people that read that or listen to that or
I,
go to our workshop.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I think about this with lots of responsibility. Um, I don't want to say nothing that can lead someone to do the wrong thing. I think we always need to be true to ourselves. I think this is the most important thing, and not following so much what other people do, or
Mm.
what other people write, or what other people the the trends that are in our industry. I think we need to be first true to ourselves, trust in our gut, and go from there.
That,
Uh,
that's so
I think
true.
yeah, and I think this for me it's the most important thing. I think it's important for us, and it's important you're doing this podcast, and it's important to for you for us all professionals or wedding photographers having the This is Reportage community. But we need first to understand who we are as a person, to understand who we are as a photographer. And this is the most important thing.
I think that's brilliant advice. I couldn't agree more. We need to be ourselves and shoot things how we want to do it. Otherwise, if we follow everyone else, all our work
Yeah,
will look like everyone else, and we might as well be doing a 9 to 5 job.
yeah,
And we have to
yeah,
love what we're doing. Otherwise, yeah, you might as well be
yeah,
working for someone else.
Yeah, it's true. So true.
No, it's great advice, Pedro. It's great. You mentioned there about how you've spoken, you do workshops, and you recently spoke at the Fearless conference
Yeah.
this year, I think. How was that for you?
Yes.
Were you nervous?
A lot. A
Did
lot.
it?
The in the end, it was a really amazing experience. It was. I was really nervous,
Yeah.
especially because I had my presentation in Portuguese and I had to do it in English,
Oh, I cannot
which
imagine. I can't imagine doing a conference in a different language. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. But all what I can think about that it was more positive. It was um, that it was a really positive thing for me because I challenged my fears to first to speak in front of an audience, a big audience,
Yeah.
with some of my favorite photographers there,
Scary.
and and speak in English. So in the end, I was really happy with the result of everything, and I prepared myself very well. I think I was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months preparing for this. Um,
That's cool.
yeah,
And
and
your daughters were there as well, weren't they?
yeah, yeah, and they went on stage. Uh,
Oh,
so it was a really special moment for me.
that's very cool, man. That's very cool.
Uh,
Um, Other than photography, what are you passionate about? What do you love?
uh, my daughters, my wife.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
uh,
Say that you had 24 hours to totally to yourself to do whatever you wanted to do. What would you do?
at this moment in my life, I like the simple things. You know, gather friends,
Yeah.
uh, talk nice talks, talk about the simple things about life, drinking a nice wine, having a nice food. You know,
Yeah.
a nice chat with friends and family. I think that is the most important thing for me, or the thing that I like to do the most. In the past, I had a boat, I sail, and that was a big passion for me. But I had other priorities in my life, especially my personal life with my family,
Sure.
and but it's something that I miss. But now at this moment, I think that the most the thing that enjoys me a lot is gather friends and family and having a nice chat, talking about simple things. You know, uh, that's the things that I that's the thing that I like the most at
Yeah.
this moment.
That's cool. That's cool. Um, has there been a specific turning point in your career? You know, something that
Mhm.
happened, like a certain wedding or award or something that's had a major impact on your career?
I know it's a cliche, but but being being a father, uh, having my daughters, it was a turning point in my life because I think I put everything in perspective. You know, my past, my present, and my future, and the path that I wanted to follow from that point. Uh, Always trying to be true to myself. Uh, I think that moment was very challenge for me. And the moment that I changed a lot the way that I saw wedding photography was February workshop. Um, because at the time, for me, it was important to talk to Fer about that, to understand how an amazing photographer like he is, uh, uh, had an amazing work, doing amazing things, and having a family. And I think he he had two daughters or two sons at the time. Now he has three. And that moment, talking to him in the workshop for me was, I realized the path that I wanted to follow, always being true to my beliefs and my principles. And I think these two moments, this workshop or being a father and having this workshop was very, it was a turning point for me. To understand at that moment what's the path that I want to follow.
That's cool, man. That's great, and it's cool. I was there on one of those turning points because I was at that workshop as well. It was brilliant, and it was super meeting you that day, and that was a big deal for me as well that day. And we met Ross Harvey as well, didn't we, that day as well?
Yeah.
It was and one of my other close. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wow. And
Rahul as well.
Oh yeah, so many. Yeah, it's mental. Actually, yeah, it's bizarre.
But it's a nice group.
Yeah, was really nice. Other than photographic skill, what skills or attributes do you think wedding photographers should have? What's important? It's not just about the photography skill, is it?
It's not the photography skill. No, I think it's more than that. I think many things many of the skills, I think we realize with experience. It's nice for us to understand a little bit of psychology.
Yeah, I think that is
understand.
Yeah.
It's true, and it's also important for us to know, to communicate, to talk to people.
Yeah, the people side is really important.
Yeah, to understand them, because I think we are in a time that I remember a time that I was more young than the couple, and I think it was a nice thing for me at the time. But now my couples are always more young than me, so I feel that sometimes I can give them nice advices or some tips, and it's more than photography. It's more about certain aspects about how we see life.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And do you think about the future in general? You mentioned it a bit earlier, but do you think about it, whether you'll still be shooting weddings in 10 years' time?
No. I remember one of the talks that we had on the photojournalism workshop, and we talk about this. We talk about the 10 years in front of us. This was in 2004, and 5 years passed, and I don't know. Now we are putting another goal of 10 years. I of course I think about the future, and I really don't know how it's going to be my life in the next 10 years. But the only thing that I know now is that we are together, me and my family. We are happy with the life that we have. I feel the biggest value that I have at this moment is my motivation and my work, and as long as I feel motivated to do the work that I do, I think I'm still here to work. I don't know, really. Maybe I'm doing another thing. Maybe I'm working still in photography. I don't know.
Well, I think that's great, man. You sound so happy now. You don't, people don't always have to have a plan for 10 years.
No, I don't have a plan, but of course, I don't want to be scared about the future. We just need to follow each day and try to achieve our goals, daily goals, and do our tasks and do and be happy. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What is there more to life than being happy anyway? Surely that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I try to be.
You always are. Whenever I've met you, you're like the cheeriest person in the room. You're
Uh,
great to be around. You really
oh,
are.
thank you so much.
Well, it's
So,
true. It is true. We've got time just for one last question, I think. A big question here. Do
whoa.
you do you eat the canapes?
That's the big question.
That's the big question. Everyone wants to know.
On the wedding,
Yeah, on the wedding.
of course I eat the cat.
Yay, you do.
Of course.
Oh,
Especially if they are good.
that's yes, yeah, not the bad ones, but the good. Oh, Pedro, awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was absolutely brilliant. So lovely talking to you, and you've given so much great advice there. That was brilliant.
I hope so. And you are doing so great things. I think I already wrote this on our group on Facebook, that this is reportage is really important for the wedding community, wedding photography community. And what you are doing is changing the perception about people about the wedding photography, because this community is very strong. And
Well,
since you launched this, I'm finding so many amazing photographers, especially in the UK. It's amazing how you guys are doing so great work in documentary style.
oh, that's very kind of you. So lovely to say.
Yeah,
And I didn't pay you to say that.
and I think this is reportage has a really important role in our industry. And
Thank you, man. That really means a lot. That really means a lot.
And it's amazing you're doing this podcast. It's not a surprise because I think you are a really wonderful person, and always with wonderful ideas. And
Oh, Pedro, you've been too. No, you stop it. You've been too lovely. Too lovely. People will think I've sent you a big check or something.
It's true because I already wrote this somewhere. I don't know, but I think I wrote. It was in my timeline on Facebook. I don't know, but it's true. It's true.
That's very lovely of you. And honestly, it's been an honor for me to be talking to you today. You really are one of my all-time favorite wedding photographers. Whenever anyone asks me, I always mention you. And you're just such a lovely guy as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And I think I will see you in Doc Day, I think.
Oh yes. 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 Amazing. In February. Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Me too. Are you nervous for that? No.
Oh, yes. I get nervous. Yes. I'm going to follow your advice, though, and practice a lot. So I've got months. So.
But you are very experienced. I saw you in 9 dots and was amazing.
Oh, too kind. Right. You're too kind. I'm going to say goodbye because you're too kind. Thank you so much, Pedro.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the 7th episode of our This is Reportage podcast. If you enjoyed it, you can subscribe to our show on iTunes to be notified when each new weekly episode is ready, bringing you advice, tips and backstories from some of the world's very best photographers each week. You can also head to thisisreportage.com to find a full transcript of this episode, including a link to that life story post that Pedro talked about. And if you're not already a member of TiR, check out all the benefits of joining us. We're all about promoting the skill and artistry of documentary wedding photography, and members receive lots of benefits, including 60 Reportage Award entries and 18 Story Award entries per year, an unlimited number of images shown on your profile, exclusive discounts on wedding photography related products and services, invites to our physical meetups and parties, such as our upcoming Christmas party in London in just a few days' time, and much more. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage, and this is bye for now.